a really interesting topic that you've brought to the table today. You help, as we mentioned before, with life's transitions. And, when we leave a lot of things behind, and most of us leave people behind. And it's important to think ahead about that. And I know that you kind of have a special kind of angle with that today. So would love for you to explain a little bit more to everybody listening.
Yeah, we're talking about special needs. For example, you might have a special needs child that will forever have special needs and will need care throughout their lifetime.
Right.
Or you might have a disabled parent, for example, or actually a disabled spouse, or a parent that needs long-term care, and you're stepping in to help them. Okay, so the question is, what happens if you are no longer there to take care of, and it could be even a pet, right? So what is it that makes this person or pet important to you? See, so those are the things that you want to think about. What are the things that you are doing right now for that individual or your pet that would still need to be done with you not there?
Right. Do you ever hear about that woman in New York who left? She was very wealthy and left all of her money to her dog. Did you hear that story?
Yes, that happens.
It's pretty crazy.
Interesting thing about that is, how can the dog sign any documents? You got to have people in place to take care of that stuff.
This is
right?
obviously a very well thought out plan.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure most people are going to be more concerned about the actual, family members. I mean, we all love our four-legged furry friends, but probably takes a little bit more work to plan ahead for the people we leave behind.
That's right. That's right. So the first question you need to be thinking about is, in your absence, who would you want to step in and take care of that? Now, is that person able or willing to do that? So you really need to talk it over with that individual, right?
Well, that's important, because you probably just don't want to assume that someone would want to take on the responsibility, especially if it's kind of a big responsibility.
Right. That's a huge responsibility. That's why you're doing it, because you care about this person. Could be a friend. So you want to think about, how long will this care be needed?
Yeah.
That could be a long time, many years, for example. So especially in needs, like we were talking about, special needs children, who has the ability to actually step in and do that? What resources have you made available for that person who's going to step in, right?
And what are we talking when we say resources? Are we talking about financial resources?
That's mainly it, because everything takes money. And not only money, though, but what about the special organizations that you might already have engaged, right? How would they continue to be funded so that care, that organization can still participate in helping you take care of your loved one? So it's real important to have the right resources, in terms of the support organizations involved. So you might want to wonder, how would your replacement caretaker have access to those resources? For example, if you're going to have life insurance that will come in, are they the beneficiary, right? Or are you leaving assets in a trust, for example? And does this person, this successor caretaker, know about the trust? Are they a trustee, or are they going to be working with a trustee? See, there's all these organizations, these different aspects of, it comes down to, how are you going to continue the care for this individual? Think about what happens if you're not there to do it. So these are the different things that you can have a trust set up. You can have a trustee who will step in and manage assets, but also coordinate with your caretaker, the person, taking over for you.
It's a lot of steps, too. I mean, when we talk about trust and trustees, some people might not even be familiar with these terms and the process of going through it, when they're starting to go down this path of thinking about what's going to happen when they're gone.
Right. The simplest way to think about that is, it's written instructions. You have to take the time to write down, this is what I want to have happen in my absence. If I can no longer take care of this individual, this is what I want to have happen, who I want to have done. These are the organizations in place. This is where the money is to fund everything that you need. And by the way, speaking of resources, what happens if the person coming in, in your place has a career,
Right.
And they have to now take time away from their career. Perhaps they have to go from full-time to part-time.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, that's going to affect their life in big ways. For example,
sure.
Financially, currently it's going to affect them, but it might also affect their retirement benefits, right? And long-term planning for their own life. So
quite a domino effect.
it really is.
And it sounds like this isn't a plan you can just grab a piece of scratch notebook paper and write it out on. It has to be a little more formal than that.
That's where it starts, though.
Yeah.
These concepts and ideas and talking with the additional successor resources and so forth, you want to think about that and then talk to an attorney about how can you make this a legal document to make sure that the courts don't get in the way of, subverting your plan because nothing was written down or it wasn't done legally. So, start with what you want to have happen. Talk to the people that you want involved. Make sure that you have their okay to do it, and then take it to an attorney.
Absolutely. Is it important to have a backup plan?
Yes.
Like a backup for the caretaker we want or put in place?
Yes. It's like naming a successor beneficiary or contingent beneficiary, or naming a successor trustee. Yes, you want to have a backup person in case the individual that you have in mind to take over in your place can't or won't, or somehow something happened and they're just not there, right? So you might want to think about how your successor caretaker would be compensated. Are they going to be compensated hourly? Are they going to not only have the resources, the financial resources to pay for the services needed, but how are they going to be personally? Because it's going to take time out of their day, and it's going to affect their whole lifestyle, right? If they're going to step in and do what you are doing, because you know what it's like. You're the caretaker currently. You know what it's like to take care of this person. So you know how it's impacted your life. Well, it's going to impact your successor caretaker the same way. How can you compensate them for that? So
would it be, literally having a conversation with that person? You're the person I would like to take care of my daughter when I'm gone.
Yes.
This is the work it takes. What would you be comfortable accepting? That detail of a conversation, that's what we're talking about?
That's right. Yeah. So those are really important conversations. So the other thing is do you have the person who's going to be your successor, do they have a power of attorney that's going to spring into action in the event that you are incapacitated, for example?
And tell us what that means, too, for anybody that hasn't maybe heard the durable power of attorney term before.
Yeah, what that means is that they can step into your shoes and act as you would and be able to do all of the same things legally without the courts interfering with approval for every action that you take. So you're giving them the power to operate as if they were you.
Yeah, this happens a lot when parents get older. They give their children the power of attorney to make decisions and things like that, right?
That's right. It's the same kind of power of attorney. In this case, it's really important because the person that you're taking care of isn't able to take care of themselves. So you need to have somebody else step into your shoes and be able to continue that care because they can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So without the power of attorney, though, the person that you had in mind to take over for you, they may not have the legal capacity to do that. So, and then, you're opening yourself up to all kinds of legal issues with family members, perhaps, that might have wanted to step in and so forth. So you want to avoid those issues as well.
Yeah, causing conflict among your family members by being organized up front.
Right. It's interesting. Depending on the situation, you wonder, what is it that it makes this person important, right? So, for example, if it's a relative, or if it's a wealthy relative, or if it's a grandparent, or someone that has wealth, and you want to, there can be all kind of subvertive type of ulterior motives that other family members might accuse this caretaker of, and it's not the case.
Right.
So you really want to avoid issues like that by having this person have their actual durable power of attorney, the actual ability to legally take care of this person, and for all the right reasons.
Right. What are some other things to consider, when you're leaving behind someone that might require a little bit more care?
Well, you're going to want to have your will and trust updated. So, if you, sometimes you get down to a person and all of your relatives are gone and you have this one pet. You talked about this idea of this person leaving all their wealth to their dog. Well, if you haven't...
It was one lucky dog. It was a lot of money.
Yeah. Another thing about it is whenever you have new people enter your family, like another grandchild comes along or a great-grandchild, you want to make sure that your estate documents are up to date in terms of your will, your trust, your beneficiary arrangements on life insurance and so forth. Wow. What happens if you got divorced and your ex-spouse still is the beneficiary on your life insurance or your pension plan or some annuity somewhere?
Yeah, it's not good.
Not so good. So you've got to make sure that your estate documents and beneficiary and ownership arrangements are all up to date.
Yeah.
So those are important things.
Well, when is it time to start considering this sort of thing? 'Cause, like, for me right now, like, God forbid I'm gone tomorrow, I'm not leaving behind anything that needs care besides maybe my roommate and her dog for a couple days.
Sure.
While they figure it out. But, as, you progress and people move along, get older, start families, when is it time to start thinking about this stuff?
Well, whenever you have some sort of assets, even a bank account, a car, whatever, you're going to want to let somebody know what you want done with that in the event that you become incapacitated or die. You might have life insurance. You might have, other things. So you want to make sure that even if you are not currently taking care of an individual, you're not responsible for it, you don't have that particular degree of responsibility, you still want to have people know what you want done for you in the event that you're incapacitated, right? You've got to give somebody the power of attorney to be able to go and pay your bills for you, right? I mean, if you, even if you're not, married or you're single or whatever, somebody's got to step into your shoes and pay the rent, pay your bills and utilities and so forth. And without a power of attorney, the bank's not going to pay attention to somebody else signing a check for you. Right? So even if you're single, you should have...
There are still things to think about. What happens to that person that maybe was depending you on for the other half of the rent or utilities or bills you were sharing or things like that. And
that's right.
Starting there will help you get to the next level when things in your life change a little bit.
Right. So generally, everybody should have a will, power of attorney at the minimum. Okay? When things get more complicated in life, like you get married or you have children, then you really want to focus on, okay, do I have enough life insurance or disability income to protect my income resource? Because you have an economic value for the people in your life that are depending on you. If that's why you're working, to make it and become financially independent someday. So if you don't make it all the way through that career, somebody was depending on that.
Yeah. Glen Thiessen joins us now, wealth advisor with Transition Planning Inc. We have to go to break here in just a sec, Glenn, but anything else you have to add? I mean, this is some great information we have here.
I would just suggest, I've suggested in the past, if you're going to be planning a vacation, okay, take one vacation and use that resource and that time to think about these particular things and make sure that in your life everything is going to be fine even if disaster strikes. Then you can go on and enjoy other vacations and do whatever else life gives you, because you know that no matter what happens, everything's going to work out fine.
Yeah.